very concerned about the arbitrary and irrational differences in the way we treat marijuana, alcohol, other substances. It has a disproportionate effect on a low-income and on minority residents in particular, and this extends not just to the area of drug use, which I think is really a public health issue more than a public safety issue when it comes to marijuana in particular, but it also extends to all kinds of sentences and enforcement for all kinds of different laws. And I think the bigger picture here is that we really need to focus on looking at whether the punishments that we assess fit the crimes, whether the offenses are even crimes or should be crimes in the first place, and the impact that it has on the future potential of a member of our society. It is completely counterproductive to deprive somebody of the ability to gain employment, to drive a car, to go to work, or to live in a neighborhood because we've decided the politically expedient thing to do is to throw the book at them.
I agree that the policies for marijuana use and the sentencing need to be revisited in our state. I would also support legislation to make sure that we are allowing for medical marijuana use.
I support decriminalization of marijuana. My career has been in Homeland and National Security, so frankly, I don't have experience with folks who use marijuana. I've never used marijuana or any illegal drug. I recognize folks who want to be able to use recreational marijuana or medical marijuana as something that they wish to do, but there are industries where it would not be in the public interest for employees to use marijuana. It's also not in the public interest for those employees to be drunk on the job. So I think anything that we do with regard to marijuana, whether it's decriminalization or legalization, we need to truly take in some of the other considerations, especially in Virginia, where we have so many people that work in the national security and homeland security fields.
May differ from my colleagues here. I support legalization of marijuana, full stop. I would regulate it just as we regulate alcohol and cigarettes. Of course you can't be stoned and going to work, just like you can't be drunk and going to work. You can't be high while driving, like you can't be drinking and driving, and we can have restrictions on minors, just like we do for alcohol and cigarettes. Tax it, regulate it. I say this, by the way, as someone who has never in my life ingested, smoked, or in any way taken in marijuana, and I have no plans to. And I've never smoked a cigarette either, so I'm actually very small c conservative in my own drug use. But for us to regulate adults, for us to tell adults what to do when they're not harming anybody, again, not if you're national security, not if you're a pilot, again, we wouldn't have you drink that as well. I've received the endorsement of the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws, and I would support medical marijuana, then decriminalization, then full legalization.
It's always fun to go last and figure out what I can say that hasn't been said. I support medical marijuana. I support decriminalization, and I ultimately support legalization and commercialization so that we can set standards. So that so here's my challenge. I have two family members who have major substance abuse issues in their lives, one of which is marijuana, for one of them. I also have clients in California and Denver, and if you go to Denver, you will find more pot shops than Starbucks. And so for me, I had to learn to do something about it in my own head. There's a difference between, do substances cause addiction, and does someone have a substance abuse problem? So for me, it's not about the substance, it's about the abuse and addiction. And as far as I'm concerned, legalize it, tax the hell out of it, and use the money to invest in substance abuse.